Colorado's stunning San Juan mountain range. Today a scenic getaway, but a century and a half ago, mining pioneers saw these mountains as their source of livelihood and fortune. Promises of gold and silver lured thousands of people to places like Ophir, Telluride, Eureka, and Silverton. The Silver Ledge mine is proof of the payout. The 4-story head frame, now just an old wooden skeleton, is all that remains of the mine and mill that sprang from the 1883 discovery on Mineral Creek. Well, this is a very important historic piece, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a really neat old structure. This is one of the last few remaining head frames in this whole mining district. And we're working pretty closely with the Historical Society to try to preserve it. The winters up here are pretty harsh and it's about ready to fall down.
How did the mine work?
The mine worked, this is like an elevator shaft. So the miners here sunk a shaft down and then were following the mineral veins. And they'd use this structure to hoist the ore back out. And then they'd sort the ore off on one side. And then the mine rock and mine waste would go over to the creek.
In the miner's eyes, the mine waste was both worthless and harmless. The concept of water pollution from heavy metal toxins leaching out of the waste piles, who knew? Starting in 2010, the Colorado Division of Reclamation, Mining, and Safety moved forward with the cleanup. Bruce, you've moved a lot of mine waste from here. Where did you put it?
We're actually standing on top of it. We moved all that mine rock up away from the creek and we put it in a big trench here and buried it and capped it.
Well, how do you prevent the water from rain and snowmelt from leaching out all the minerals that are still in that waste?
What we've done here is we've put a cap on top of it that's made out of limestone and cement kiln dust. So this creates an impervious cap to the water, plus it also has alkalinity that helps neutralize that acid rock. So we don't get the water leaching those mine minerals into the creek.
The goal for these abandoned toxic sites along the Continental Divide is to reduce the drainage from the worst contributors. In certain cases, like here at the Kohler Tunnel, the water coming out of the mine is held back with a concrete plug.
We've got some minor seepage that you can see coming in along the bulkhead, but generally the bulkhead is performing very well.
This massive wall holds nearly all the water in the mountain. But over time, some of the water finds new cracks that let it seep out, in this case, out through the original tunnel. DRMS and their reclamation partners plan to seal the cracks to stop the seepage.
That whole load is dispersed back into the regional groundwater system, and we don't see this discharge to the creek that's got the high metals load. And nature can take care of it. And nature can take care of it.
And nature does take care of it through wetlands, which, when there is a modest amount of mine drainage, work well for filtering the toxic minerals out of the water. But with hundreds of draining abandoned mine sites in the region, the amount of water draining out of these mines can add up. The water that is flowing out of these sites might look clear, but the stream bed below tells of the heavy metal pollution. Iron has turned the stream bed bright red. Other dissolved elements include lead, zinc, and cadmium. With this volume of water and the amount of concentrated toxins that are in it, the wetlands below the runoff area have no chance to keep up or even survive. Here in Silverton, you can see this striking example of polluted water mixing with a cleaner tributary. The town's drinking water is taken from the clean stream before it gets to this point. And the clean water does dilute the dirty, making it less bad, but not good enough for fish. From here on downstream for miles, the Animas River cannot support aquatic life.
This mine is the Anglo-Saxon, and it's a draining mine, it's a collapsed mine.
Peter Butler with the Animas River Stakeholders Group has been working for more than 15 years to find solutions that would improve water quality at an affordable cost. Butler says in the clean water regulations, small mines like this one fall into the same category as big cleanup projects that require water treatment plants.
You have to reduce the metals by, say, 90-95%, which would be very expensive, and nobody's willing to take up the liability of having to put that treatment plant in.
Butler says a treatment plant isn't a practical solution.
Well, it's impractical because you essentially need a building. So you need space, you need a flat area, you need to have people that have access to it, you need power, and you need a lot of money. And none of those things are in great supply.
Butler says he'd like to see additions to clean water laws that would relate to the Anglo-Saxon and hundreds of other hard rock mines in the West by permitting a partial improvement in these hard-to-get-to spots.
But you could spend a smaller amount of money and get, say, a 50% reduction at a particular site, and then be able to walk away from the project and not having to build a whole treatment plant.
There have been many attempts to get Congress to amend the Clean Water Act to open the way for affordable, small-scale water treatments that would be allowed on a case-by-case basis. But nothing has moved beyond the conversation stage. For the Colorado Division of Reclamation, Mining, and Safety, I'm Helen Gray.